Hi, I'm James. I'm a third year PhD student in social policy. I'm sorry that I can't be at the induction today, but there are a few points that I thought I would have liked to have sort of heard about or known about when I started the PhD. So if it's okay with you, I thought I'd just run through a few of them from the Masters and then some from the PhD. So I did the MA Social Research first, I self-funded it. I really enjoyed it. Try and enjoy the time that you have to look at various research philosophies and methods, because it can become really valuable when you draw on this later on in your PhD. And likewise with some of the essays for the modules as well, you can try and frame these so that they're usable later on, so you can do sort of a pilot of the PhD type thing, or you can do it in a way that you can then draw on the data later on when you need it. For the PhD, it's a real privilege to be ESRC funded. As time has gone on, I've seen other PhD students' situations, and it's made me realise how fortunate I am. Try and make use of the Research Training Support Grant, so I've used it for business cards, for conferences, for getting to my research interviews, for train fairs and things. And through the Doctoral Training Partnership, I've had access to courses that I otherwise wouldn't have been able to get access to. So I did one on Python programming that was really valuable and would have cost something like £360 otherwise. So make use of the Doctoral Training Partnership resources. Being ESRC funded does make people sort of take notice, and it gives you sort of a bit of clout to your research and adds legitimacy. So don't be afraid to include it in speaker biographies or in letterheads. It's really worth doing. If you can, keep a rough sketch of the timelines throughout your PhD. This will change, and don't worry if it does change, but it's just useful to sort of have an idea of where you're going and what your next steps are. And the training needs analysis is useful for making you update this. Be prepared for some of the reading and some of the ideas to take longer to sink in than you thought they probably would. There's a reason the whole PhD takes 3 years to complete. And some of the best ways that I've found of sort of solidifying some of my ideas and thoughts are by presenting really frequently. So present at conferences. A lot of conferences will have PhD streams that are quite easy to get onto in a really supportive environment, or present at PGR events in your department or school. In terms of networking, I found that fairly frequent Twitter use and turning up to sort of academic and practitioner events, even when they're only slightly related to my PhD, has been really useful. It's been really useful for getting sort of more research cases for my study, but also getting to know organisations that in the end I might end up working for. In terms of social stuff, the PGMSA and Westmere I found really useful both during the Masters and the beginning of the PhD. It's getting to know other people, see what sort of research people are doing. It's just generally a really useful and friendly community.
And the old wink and the gun, sign off. Alright, and action.
And finally, I've really enjoyed the whole process of doing my PhD. I'm obviously not there yet, but I've enjoyed it so far. Don't worry about the moments where you have sort of self-doubt, or you think like, what am I going to do with this data, or how am I going to complete this, because don't worry, you'll get there in the end. So yeah, I've really enjoyed it, and I hope you do too.